on our way, always taking my breath, whether sun or rain. The wind will carry us over, that horizon we see is getting closer. This is why we live, for moments like this. This is why we live, for moments like this, yeah. For moments like this, when the mountain calls and the river waits for what's to come, a dreamer's day. The wind will carry us over, that horizon we see is getting closer. This is why we live, for moments like this. This is why we live, for moments like this, yeah. Moments like this is why we live. This is why we live. Oh, moments like this. This is why we live. This is why we live. Oh, moments like this. Moments like this.
I took the gravel trail from Donkey Creek Park, and this trail takes you to the waterfront park where you can have a picnic and relax with beautiful views of the harbor.
I'm Stephanie Lyle, the director here at the Harbor History Museum. We are on board the 65-foot wooden purse seiner, Shenandoah. We also nickname her Project 224606 because that is the vessel's special number, registration number. So on board here, we're on the back deck, the work deck of the boat. This is where all the fish would come in, all the nets would be piled, the fish would go right into the hold here. But of course, no fish have been in the boat for a while because she's dry docked basically here at the Harbor History Museum in our maritime gallery that is eventually going to be enclosed, and we'll have amazing exhibits that will surround the boat to create the Shenandoah experience. But right now the experience is about restoration and conservation of these historic vessels. So folks that come down to the museum can kind of see this action firsthand and learn a little bit from our shipwright and our amazing volunteers that are here. So we hope to have this project done by 2025, which will be the 100th birthday of the Shenandoah.
That's amazing.
Here we are in the galley of the Shenandoah. Now this is where the food would be cooked and the crew would gather all around the table to eat meals together and kind of check in on the day. There are sayings that say that if the galley table could talk, boy, what stories it would tell. But if you look around, you'll see there's sort of a butter yellow on the wall, and this Formica on the table is the original 1949 Formica that was actually put on the table, on the counter, and on the dash up in the pilot house. But this was really the central hub of the boat. When people weren't working, they were here playing cards, eating meals, kind of checking in on the day. So here we are in the pilot house of the Shenandoah, and you might notice this bright aqua, wonderful color. We actually, when we do conservation work, we do some sanding and we look at the layers of paint underneath to see what the original color scheme was. And that's how this color was revealed. It is really warm and really friendly. And the truth is, the captains would not, or the skippers would not really be in the pilot house in here all that much. Most of the time, they're up on the flybridge above our heads with a whole other wheel that's up there that they can steer and guide the boat and get the fullest view of the water, of the dock, everything that they need to see. So pilot houses were sort of down below and up above depending on the weather and what the skipper needed to do with the boat. Okay, so this is the stove where all the food for the crew and everybody would be made. It is kind of the hub of the galley, of course, because everything that's cooking, you gotta boil water, all of that. There's also something that's kind of famous here that's called boat coffee. If you haven't ever had boat coffee, it is a rare and unique kind of coffee because it's about as thick as molasses and as delicious, or maybe not.
Well, Stephanie, do you know how large the crew was on this boat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so originally this boat had a crew of about 10 people because all the nets were hauled by hand. And that means they didn't have power blocks, they didn't have any extra equipment. It was all people power to pull those nets in and haul in the fish. Later, in the 1950s, when the power block was invented, that cut crews in half. So you could have a crew of about 5 people do the work of what 10 people did before, because you have this massive power block that was actually doing the work of hauling in the net. So this is called the fish hold, and the fish would be dropped down through here, and meaning salmon, lots and lots and lots of salmon. And so they would fill up the whole fish hold down below, and then a tender would come by, pick up the fish on a daily basis and take them to the cannery. Sometimes the boats would actually be full of fish and then they'd go straight up to the cannery and get unloaded at the cannery. Just depends on what the time period was. So originally they put all the fish down here, just kind of caught them, threw them in the hold, and went to the cannery each night and offloaded. Later times they would put ice down here and you'd get some fish on ice. And today they actually have freshwater tanks, or I should say saltwater tanks, inside of the vessel, and all the fish go into those tanks and get preserved before they actually go off to the cannery.
So, Stephanie, did the fish get weighed that day, and then did the fishermen get paid, or did it take a week or so?
Yeah, again, it depends on the time period. So originally they paid by the fish. And so they would just, $1 a fish or something. So they would catch as many fish as they can. And sometimes if they caught a big one, they'd even throw it back because they wanted the smaller fish, because more fish equaled more dollars, right? Later, and to this day, they actually pay by the pound. So it's a little bit different than it was in those early days. But there's some fishermen that talk about the days of paying by the fish. And they would say, we'll fill up my whole bunk if we can just put more fish in there and make a few more bucks. So it's kind of depends on the time period. Big giant boat that you see behind me is the Shenandoah. She's a 65-foot wooden purse seiner made of Douglas fir, a yellow cedar, and oak frames. So these boats were actually built here in Gig Harbor. It was fished by 2 different Gig Harbor families. She was launched in 1925 and actually fished for about 73 years straight. That's a lot of years fishing. The boat also is in this gallery that we call kind of a working gallery, but ultimately when the restoration and conservation on the boat is done, this whole gallery is going to be enclosed so that we can protect the vessels from weather, from insects, from the wind and rain and all sorts of stuff. So it'll just be a much better environment that we'll be able to use year round. This thing that looks like a giant metal dead body is actually the Atlas engine, and it's been taken apart piece by piece, and it will ultimately be lifted up and dropped into the engine bay of the Shenandoah because she originally had an Atlas engine, and so people will be able to go down inside and see the engine in its original environment, as well as crew quarters and the fish hold and all of that. So it's a long, drawn-out process, and we're really fortunate to have a lot of grants and individual contributors to help fund this project, but it's taken a while. So 2025 is the magic year. So this is the Emerson. This is a large vessel that was built to row across the Pacific, and the longest unaided, non-stop solo row in history. The years were 2018 to 2019, and the guy that accomplished this amazing feat is named Jacob Hendrickson. He actually rowed this boat and trained here out of Gig Harbor as his base, and then left from Nia Bay, Washington, and rowed all the way across the Pacific to Cairns, Australia. It was 336 days with this boat as his home, and we're very delighted and honored to have it here on view for people to be able to see.
Hi, my name is John Ross. I'm the owner of Millville Pizza. We're a little wood-fired pizza restaurant in downtown Gig Harbor, 3906 Harborview Drive. We've been open since December of 2016, so going on 5 years now. We're a little 30-seat restaurant. We're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. We have about 30 seats inside with patio dining on the outside and deck seating in the evening. We serve authentic Neapolitan-style pizzas. Everything is made from scratch. We use Italian flour. We try to use authentic, as much as we can, authentic Italian ingredients like our chorizo sausage, Italian sausage, pepperonis, cheeses. Everything is made from scratch each day, freshly cut. One of our most popular dishes that we serve is the Mustang Pizza. It's a pesto-based pizza with mozzarella cheese, burrata, pepperoni, and chorizo sausage. That's one's been kind of a fan favorite from the very beginning. We kind of call it our sloppy Joe pizza because it can tend to get a little bit sloppy. We've also got a Chinook pizza for those individuals that really like white sauce pizza. It's a ricotta-based white sauce with bacon, shallots, blue cheese, and then finished with a balsamic reduction drizzle over the top. And then finally, we've also got just a very nice, fresh Westland pizza, which is a red sauce-based mozzarella, and then fresh prosciutto, sliced prosciutto, along with some fresh arugula, extra virgin olive oil, and some lemon zest to finish. We serve wood-fired cookies. We've also got a great relationship with Ice Cream Social, who's based out of Tacoma, who provides us with 4 specialty ice creams every single week. So we've got rotating ice cream special as well. We've got a great selection of wines. from our wine sommelier, who provides us with rotating menu of reds, whites, and bubbles. And we also have local beer on tap.
Wonderful. Well, what I found interesting is you said the Mustang pizza was your most popular pizza, and I was looking at your menu, and that's the one that I already selected. Do you think that you can make me a pizza?
Perfect, let's go do it.
Oh, great, thank you.
Welcome back, we're gonna make your Mustang pizza here. So we'll take our 290 gram dough ball, which has been proofing now for the last couple hours, out of our cam room. Here's the dough ball. It's pretty simple to stretch. You want to create just a nice little edge around. Throw some flour on there. And we always like to stretch it out to 12 inches and keep it as round as possible. But because it's kind of made from scratch on each time, sometimes it comes out perfectly round and sometimes it doesn't. But we always like to consider have that great taste at the very end. The nice thing about the dough is it's really pliable, so you can really stretch it out pretty easy. And we put a semolina base on the bottom of the pizza peel so that it slides off nicely, but then it also creates this nice little crust on the very bottom that just kind of adds to the texture and the flavor of the pizza. So there's our 12-inch pizza right there. We'll apply some pesto sauce here, nice generous portion. Can't be afraid to get dirty when you're doing your pizza dough stretching. No, not shredded. Oh, yeah. Some mozzarella, shredded mozzarella. We like the wet mozzarella and not the dry mozzarella, so that it spreads out nicely, kind of like a more traditional Italian cheese. You've always got to have your Parmesan. Pepperoni. Sliced fresh every day. We like to make sure that our pizzas are completely covered so that every single bite, each individual is having all of the toppings that should be on that pizza. Some chorizo. Finally, burrata ball, which is a fresh mozzarella ball with a sweet mozzarella cream in the center. Like that.
Well, there's my pizza. I can't wait to try it.
It should take about 4 minutes to cook. Oven temperature's around 650 degrees.
What temperature does the oven have to be when you're making a pizza like this, John?
Typically like around 650 degrees.
650, okay, and you said usually 4 to 5 minutes?
Yeah, usually 4 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
And we can fit upwards of 7 pizzas in there.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
pretty
so it
good.
can get pretty tight.
That looks really good.
Came out nice and crisp.
Good. Now that's what you call a pizza cutter.
And it's a pizza cutter right there. As always, gotta finish with some parm.
peanut butter cookies?
Peanut butter cookies, yeah.
I like peanut butter cookies.
No, they're so good.
They also sell a lot of kayaks.
Hey, I'm Lucas, and I work for Ship to Shore Marine. We're located downtown Gig Harbor, 3403 Harborview Drive, and we sell marine supply, knickknacks, gifts, clothing, and then we do sales for paddle boards and kayaks and accessories. So we're here 7 days a week, 362 days a year. No Black Friday, no Thanksgiving, no Christmas. So stop on by at your leisure. We'd love to see you. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the paddle boards we have in stock today. I've only got a few right now, but this one's called the Endurance, and it's the only real touring board that I stock right now. So the pointy nose helps with tracking and efficiency, so you get a little bit more of the board down in the water working to help you with glide and overall potential hull speed. Big weight capacity, so this one's designed to haul all your gear. You can go camping, fishing. It's even designed to be drug up on the beach and slept on. So they give you an extra cushy plush deck pad so you can roll your setup out on it and sleep on it. So these are a couple other boards that I offer at the moment. They both have rounded noses, so they're kind of in the all-around category. They're good for just putting around on the water. The rounded nose gives you a little more stability, so they've got the loungeability factor if you want to do some yoga or just relax in the sunshine. And this one is $1,300, fiberglass and epoxy construction. And this one's plastic for $1,075, thermoformed plastic over foam.
So is one of them lighter than the other?
Let's see. This one's 29 pounds and 31 pounds. So they're really similar. You can throw either one under your arm and drag it down to the water, no problem.
So do you know if it just makes a difference in paddling them? The lighter they are? Just curious.
Yeah. The lighter they are, the faster they'll go. But neither of these are designed for being especially fast.
Okay.
They do make fast paddle boards, but they're very expensive, very narrow and tippy, almost zero loungeability factor. So these boards are rated, they have a rated weight capacity, but they divvy it up for beginner, intermediate, and advanced because the handling characteristics of the board will change as you load it up more. So this particular one, beginner, 179 pounds, intermediate, 225 pounds, and advanced, 263 pounds. So you can haul yourself and amenities for a great day on the water. Water bottle, snacks, extra clothing, what have you.
Do you have to use a certain type of paddle for these type of stand-up paddle boards?
Oh yeah, for sure. Let me show you. We stock a lot of different SUP paddles. This one is one of my favorites. So a carbon fiber shaft, fiberglass blade, and I think it's one of the best bang for your bucks in the premium paddles. It's the second lightest we have, and it's, let me see the price here. $259.95 at the moment. And these have translucent blades, so it lets a little bit of light through. So I paddle at night with a 360-degree white light with this paddle. And as you dip your blade in the water, the light from your lantern shines through it, and it looks like the blade is glowing underwater. So that's one of my favorite features about this particular one.
Now, do you use certain tie downs? Can you use certain tie downs so in case you drop it in the water, you can retrieve it?
You can get a paddle leash, but that's one of the number one rules. Hold on to your paddle because you're useless without it. So you can fall off the board, hold on to your paddle.
No butterfingers, right?
No butterfingers allowed. Hold it like you mean it.
Okay, that's really a nice looking paddle.
Yeah. This is my kayak. It's called an Eddyline Fathom. So Eddyline is a Washington-based company. They manufacture all their products in Burlington, Washington. It's thermoformed plastic, 16 and a half feet long, and it's kind of their flagship touring kayak. So it's the longest one they make at the moment. It's the most efficient. So you have 3 different hatches, one forward, one aft, and then a day hatch that you can access from the cockpit. And it has a drop-down skeg So the hull is designed to be more playful with the skeg retracted and much better tracking with the skeg deployed. And because it's got the skeg, they can design it to behave nicely in both of those positions.
Did you say how much weight that was?
How much the boat weighed?
Yeah, how much-
50 pounds.
The boat is 50 pounds.
Yep.
So of course, how do you get it to the water? Do you use a certain
I use a peanut cart.
a peanut cart?
So it's the easiest one to install and uninstall. It just
Okay.
slips over the tail and bungees somewhere centerline. The disadvantage is you feel more of the weight of the boat. For me, it's a worthy trade-off for the ease of use.
It is. Well, it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I really, really like it.
It's a little salty and sandy at the moment because it just went out, but that's how it should be.
So do you have to, for care, do you have to do anything special?
It's a plastic boat, so they're very low maintenance.
Okay.
They do want you to keep it out of the sun for prolonged periods of time.
Okay.
And then there's a special like UV resistant spray you can use for the rubber hatches.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, not much care involved.
Well, thank you so much for
Happy to help.
teaching me about your kayak.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to help.
So that-
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the Net Shed. This is our beautiful restaurant. We've been here about 8 years or so, and we serve mostly breakfast. So we have pancakes and all that good stuff, French toast, everyone's favorite breakfast food. Beautiful waterfront area outside that people love to come and enjoy the sun and the summertime. So it was an old net shed, and we converted it. It was a restaurant before we were here. They made it into a restaurant probably about 15 years ago. And we've been here for I think 7 or 8 years now. We've been here for quite a long time.
What do you serve for lunch or possibly dinner?
We have all sorts of sandwiches. We have banh mi sandwich, Rubens, all sorts of stuff for lunch. We have a really popular clam chowder that people love for the winter time too. For our dinner service, we do only 2 days a week. We do Friday and Saturday dinner service starting at 4, and it goes to 8 o'clock. And we have tacos, we have like chicken and shrimp tacos, we have a big burger, all sorts of stuff. We do salads and all that stuff. We do all sorts of good stuff.
Well, great. I will be sure to be here with my husband soon.
Yeah, excellent. You're more than welcome. We would expect it. You know?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'm behind the net shed, and as you can see, they have a lot of seating out here, and it's a great place to have your breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And they have a really nice view of the marina out here as well. So neat that along the harbor you can borrow a life jacket and then just return it. I think that is such a great idea, especially when you have kids. They're growing in and out of things so quickly.
Academic affairs. This is the Scansey Net Shed. It was founded in 1910. It was for the Scansey family, which had a boat called the Avalon. It was a purse seiner. This shed is where they constructed the nets and kept all their equipment and when they weren't fishing. There's about 13 of these sheds in the harbor. A lot of them are shut down now. This opened up in about 2004 when the two brothers passed on. They wanted this as basically hopefully a National Historic Site, which is what it is now. and to give tours of this kind of historic site and to keep this part of the tradition here in Gig Harbor alive and well. There's really nothing that's changed except the boats now are fiberglass rather than wood, and you see some steel boats, of course, but then the nets are changing. They were nylon, now they're going towards Dyneema and Spectra. So a lot of things are changing in terms of the mechanics of the net making and the net use. I give tours down here. We're open 1 day a week, and it's basically our way in the harbor of showing you what we do, what it was all about, and what the fishing community means to Gig Harbor.
That's fantastic. And I was just curious, what is the main fish that they do catch?
Salmon.
Okay, it is salmon.
Yeah, there's 4 types. I mean, you have dog salmon, which is chum. Then you have your silvers. Then you have your sockeyes, which are reds. And then you have, last but not least, humpies, which they're
Okay. Do you happen to know if there's a cap on how many fish that you can catch in a season for
No,
the salmon?
there isn't.
Oh, there isn't.
No, it's basically you go out there and you fish. You're controlled, meaning you might give 3 days a week. They will watch how much everyone's catching, but basically the big kind of break on that is what the canneries can handle. If you've got a huge number of fish coming in, the canneries have got to be able to process it. And a lot of the fish now, instead of all going into cans, they're shipped out of various canneries for the fresh market. And
Hi, welcome to the Scansey Visitor and Interpretive Center. My name is Lindsay Stover and I'm the Executive Director of Harbor Wild Watch, and we are in the historic Scansey House. This home was built by the Scansey family back in 1910, and now it's operated as a marine interpretive center and visitor center for everybody who is coming to our the wonderful community of Gig Harbor. So we have in the front room here is information for visitors about activities to do in Gig Harbor when you visit, and then the rest of the main floor is a marine interpretive center. So we have a live marine touch tank, we have an augmented reality sandbox, a skull display, and a microscope station for you to come and enjoy for people of all ages. So here we have a 100-gallon marine touch tank that is filled with animals that were collected right from behind us in Gig Harbor Bay. We have sea stars, sea cucumbers, anemones. There's some fish in here, some sculpin, some beautiful red, brown, and green algae, as well as I think some hermit crabs and a kelp crab. So I'll show you one of the animals we have is this beautiful leather star. And this is a sea star. It's an echinoderm, which means spiny skin. The mouth of the sea star is right on the bottom here. It's got these rows of tube feet where they're actually used like suction cups to attach on to different surfaces to move around. Little feet that are powered by water. This hole right here is called the madreporite. That's actually where the sea star brings water in to power those tube feet. And they even have little eye spots at the end of each of these legs.
Oh, how interesting.
So this is the augmented reality sandbox, and it is a pretty fun activity activity to be able to display and help people understand how watersheds work. So there is highly reflective sand in this box, and then you can see that we have a projector and a camera that display the contour lines to depict the topography, and it changes in real time. So this is showing a hill right here. So let's say there was a landslide and the hill went away, it changes, so you can see what would happen to the water if that occurred. You can also make it rain, so you can see the blue that is simulating rainfall, and you can see it sloshing around in the basins. And again, you can see what happens if the land went away there. Well, these two water basins would kind of connect together. So this is a great tool to make people understand how watersheds work, and that even if you don't live right by the water, everything that you do is running downhill and eventually is going to impact the water. So if you are using fertilizer on your yard, or there's dog poop in your yard, or you have an oil leak, all of that is going to run downhill, and eventually the rain is going to pick it up and it's going to go right into a water basin and impact our marine creatures.
So don't do that.
Yes, don't do that. And here we have our beautiful skull display. So we have many skulls, not just ones from the Salish Sea region, but from all around the world. And this is a great display to teach people about what to look for. They kind of can become a skull detective to determine what animal actually belongs to this. So let's take the sea otter as an example here, and you can look at what type of teeth does this animal have. Here we can see the sea otter has sharp pointy teeth, so it indicates what it might eat, probably fish that the sea otter eating here. And it has big teeth down here that maybe would be able to crush things. We also look at where the eyes are set on an animal. And the trick we use is eyes on the side likes to hide, eyes in front likes to hunt. So you can see our deer skull down here where the eye sockets are on the side. This animal is a prey animal, and so it likes to hide, compared to our cougar skull, which is showing the eyes that are in the front. So this animal likes to hunt. Another indication for skulls is the crest that is at the top. And here, if the animal has a pronounced crest like this, that means that the jaw muscles are attached all the way up here on the top of its head. And you'll notice that humans, we don't have that. So animals that have this have to have a really powerful bite. So they're eating things that are, maybe really hard, and so they have that really powerful jaw.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
Celebrate your special day by taking a Venetian Gondola tour and explore Gig Harbor. You may bring your own snacks, or they offer some appetizers from the Gig Harbor General Store. You may choose an hour ride or a 90-minute ride.
Sunny day, take me down to Covert Lake, take me back to yesterday, 'cause that's where I belong. On a rainy day, take me to that old cafe, we'll watch the teardrops drip away with everything we've known. 'Cause I how to write a song. You know how to sing along. You take me back to summer days. Oh, it take me down to White Rock Lake. We'll get out our old ice skates and go around a two. And when we get cold, Cafe Du Mar radio, a melody can soothe my soul. We'll sing a song or two. 'Cause I know how to write a song. You know right where you belong. You take me back to summer days. Oh, it feels like yesterday. Nothing could go wrong. You take me back to summer nights. Don't need no rhythm or no rhyme. We're dancing all night long. It sounds like it sounds like it's everything that we believed is carved right in this tree. And I hope that when you think of me,